have seen her struggle lately at coverages. It's gotten tougher, and that's where their consistent force of Timpson has been phenomenal. She's a defensive leader. She's had great composure, and she's leading the ACC in blocks, rebounds, and field goal percentage.
And so we are just a few moments away from tipping things off for our officials today. Joseph Vasili, Alyssa Green, and Nick Capel on the call as Duke starts off with the ball. We are now underway. Thanks to everyone for joining us, as Florida State is also recognizing former coach Sue Simmerau after 25 seasons, retiring. So we look forward to having her on the broadcast as well. Duke, who has had a few games starting slow on the offensive end. Carol Lawson talked about how they needed to be a little bit more poised. That's not what she was looking for out of the tip.
Yeah, definitely don't want to start with a turnover, but I like to see the emphasis of getting the ball into the paint. Florida State does a great job at protecting the paint, but Duke doesn't want to shy away from that. They still want to score inside.
And this was another thing that Brooke Wyckoff was talking about with her team. How do we handle ourselves in their full court press? That has been a question for all teams in the ACC. They had a good look there, just nothing was able to be converted.
Against this Duke pressure, that is going to be something that Florida State's going to need to do, is be able to break it, but also not miss chippies like that. They're going to want the layups like those to go in.
You can see at the bottom of your screen, the Duke starting five. Not much has changed within that group. We did mention Balagoon earning her rights, and Makayla Timpson puts Florida State on the board first.
Yeah, you know, not something that we usually see her bringing the ball up off the dribble and kind of going coast to coast for the layup, but, you know, interesting to see the game settle in. Duke starting with now 3 turnovers in a row.
So we mentioned those slow starts. We even saw them going back.
Here you see Timpson straight down the lane line for the easy uncontested lay-in.
So the communication for the #1 scoring defense in the league nationwide as well, just ranks in the top 5. You wouldn't assume that there would be any communication errors there.
Yeah, unlike them, especially to start the game. You know, usually that's when you're most locked in, and you know, just a communication error right there for sure.
Bajetti tries to dish it off on the inside, and how about Timpson? Hot start for her at the floor.
It's a nice, strong finish. She took her time. It was a little bit of a tough catch, but took her time, gathered herself, and went up strong.
Timpson, the sophomore out of Edison, Georgia, standing at 6'2", plays more like she's 6'6". Very physical on the inside. Brown short on the play. You can see the sense of urgency from Florida State, how they're getting the ball up the court, with Bajetti able to draw the foul. Yeah.
There you see Bajetti drew 2, found her teammate underneath, and the nice, strong finish as she gathered and created her space. You know, I expect to see that coming off of that loss against Notre Dame, where they didn't shoot it well, they didn't feel good about how they played. There was a lot of things that they can fix and do better, and they've been great at home all season. So I'm not surprised by how they've started this game.
Well, starting off, 6-0 start for Florida State, as Latson is now on the board. You mentioned, just going back to that Notre Dame game, they actually had a 1-point lead over Notre Dame going into halftime, but the biggest difference was in that second half, how Latson was held off the free throw line, as well as what they were able to give up on the boards.
Yeah, for sure. And Notre Dame didn't shoot the ball particularly well either, but their zone really gave Florida State some trouble, keeping them in the half court, making them, you know, really take their time and be patient and find the best shot. And I would say that Florida State did not do that last game.
Bajetti tries to kiss it off the glass, just short. Balagoon with the rebound and advances it to Day-Wilson. Celeste Taylor tries to scoop past it on the inside. Brown at the top of the key, bounces around a little bit, can't go down, and it continues to be a struggle for Duke. They get a second chance opportunity, spin move.
It's a nice move, but got to be able to finish that. And you know, Kennedy Brown does have range from around that free throw line. She can shoot it, so that was a good look at it, a good offensive rebound. And there we have stepped out of bounds, or did we call the foul? Foul.
So Massagill actually just picked up her first foul. There was a little bit of a collision there, just trying to free up Latson on the side. See Day-Wilson taking a break, as De Jesus will check in for Duke.
Also not surprised to see that substitution as far as a challenge for Day-Wilson this season has been to kind of run the team, grow up as a young point guard and be able to keep the team composed, and how Duke has come out and started this game. Vanessa De Jesus has been a very consistent, steady point guard presence for this Duke team.
Celeste Taylor short on the three, another offensive board. Balagoon gets the and one.
And just like that, we finally see a patient possession where it was intentional. Duke got the ball where they wanted to get it. And then you see E right here just with a nice, strong post move. She has position, she gathers herself, she goes up against the contact and finishes to give herself a chance at the three-point play.
Can't connect on the three-point play, but just something to be mindful of as well. Coach Brooke Wyckoff was telling us that we have to make sure we keep them off the glass. Second chance up already, 2 points for Duke.
Yeah, rebounding is going to be a huge emphasis for the Seminoles today. It's been a growth area for them all season, and against this Duke team that does rebound well, Balagoon being one of those rebounders, it's going to be a challenge for them today to make sure they make contact and are physical.
Duke has a 14-8 record over the Noles in this series. Seminoles actually took the lone matchup last year, running on a three-point victory. And they meet for the first time this season.
And Angel, you talk about that lone matchup. It's something we talked about earlier. Is, you know, when the top three teams right now standing in the ACC, being Florida State, Duke, and Notre Dame, all play each other only one time.
Yep.
So these games are really, really important for the matchups and for March.
Duke picks up their fourth turnover of the ball game. That's blocked by Brown. It goes back to Florida State. They'll get it underneath the basket with 24. Talk about a tough schedule. Any day in the ACC is a tough one. You go back to even the game between Wake Forest and Louisville just recently, them picking up their first win over Louisville in program history. And of course, we already saw Jewel Spear when she had a 30-burger with our game, and she added her season high 34.
Yeah, she's a terrific scorer. She really, I mean, she went crazy just in that game. She really did.
Jetty was blocked at one end. Balagoon gets it with the double team as she's welcome. That's a jump ball, and it says that it's going to go back to the Noles.
You see the emphasis from both teams to really protect the paint and contest every layup.
Valencia Myers checks in for Makayla Timpson. Team calls her KK. It's okay for us to do the same, so we'll throw that out there a little bit. You can see the full court press as Bajetti was held up and get the ball back with 27.
That's going to be the balance for this Duke pressure, is to be able to give Florida State trouble, getting the ball in, but not let them really speed up and get downhill too much.
As you can see, Latson is just one of those players that can just break the press by herself. But it's what they do in their execution. Off of that is how Florida State is trying to see how they develop. Bajetti with a nice pick is also fouled as she was trying to send it up to Tania Latson. And Sarah Taylor picks up her first foul off of a hustle play by Sarah Bajetti, in Florida State with a nice 4-point lead with 5 minutes, a little 5 under the first.
There are all kinds of products in this world.
Basketball presented by Food Lion. At the top of the show, we showed you the dynamic duo with Duke, Shayeann Day-Wilson, as well as Elizabeth Balagoon. But on the other side, we would be remiss if we didn't mention the duo between Florida State. You can see Tania Latson as well as Makayla Timpson. All 6 points that they have so far and the numbers that they've conjured up all season.
Yeah, I mean, they're just a great scoring duo. Makayla Timpson is also a great offensive rebounder, so you will see her in this game be able to get some of those missed shots and put them back in. But it's no surprise here that they have all 6 points to start this game.
I think another thing just to look at as well, Duke who wanted to improve on the offensive side as far as how they attacked out of the gate. Already 6 turnovers, 3 in the last 131. So for Duke, continuing in this game, trying to see if they can fine-tune just being on the same page.
They get a nice wide open baseline look for Reagan Richardson, who has also been pretty good for the Blue Devils in the last few games.
The sophomore Charlotte, North Carolina, she's averaging about 7 points per game. The transfer from UGA, she played there as a freshman. Richardson, you can see the aggression that she has, and that's her second attempt coming out of the timeout.
Yeah, she had a nice move right there, just a nice hesitation to get the big to stand up and went by and went all the way to the rim. Would like to see them be able to finish some more of those and reward themselves, but she will definitely stay aggressive.
Only 2 points for Duke. The 2 points coming off of an O board for Balagoon. And they limit them to 1 shot there. Mariah Gordon checks in. They call her OMG. We've seen some OMG moments from her throughout her season already with Florida State. Tania Latson, that's something she can do well, drawing the contact and getting to the free throw line.
She is a great physical guard. She's able to score against contact, and she's great when she can get to the free throw line. She's had a lot of success individually, and the team has had a lot of success when she's able to be aggressive and get to the free throw line.
Well, how about this, Jazz? When you're looking at going back to that Boston College game that they dropped, they've only lost 3 games in ACC play, but that first Boston College game, she only shot 2 free throws. From there, she shot 4, 5, 5, 5, and 3. Before that, she was 15 for 15 from Clemson, and at Georgia Tech, 13 for 13. So if you're an opposing coach and you say, we have to make and pick our poison when it comes to Latson, that has to be one of the ways.
It definitely is. Don't give her easy points at the free throw line. It's hard to do. She's a very dynamic guard, but the challenge is to be able to defend her, keep her in front of you, and not foul, and give her those easy points at the line.
A nice interior pass. Kennedy Brown gets that one to go. A little physical push on the inside, but that's everything we expected to see on the interior.
Yeah, Mia Heidi, she actually came off of a great third quarter against Virginia Tech where she, defensively held it down for the Blue Devils, but she also had a little offensive spark in that game.
Amaria picks up the foul there.
They get the ball inside, and, she goes for the steal, but she ends up coming up with a pass to finish at the rim. It's a great offensive execution for the Blue Devils.
So Maria picks up her first foul. And another foul assessed. We've seen the whistle blown a little bit more since the last timeout that we've seen from Duke. The level of aggression we've seen from them has definitely been different as well.
Yeah, I think it's a physical game. Both teams really trying to attack the paint. Both teams trying to be physical on the rebound. But we have like 4 offensive rebounds for Duke right now. So that is an emphasis for the Seminoles, is to be able to box out and not give them those second chance opportunities.
Oliver knocks down the first of the pair. Gets them both. And now we see the full court press from Duke. It was one way they said, how can we get points? Turns it over there. Oliver once again, back-to-back buckets for Oliver.
Oliver, a player who doesn't typically score a lot for this Blue Devil team, but she is a leader. She makes great decisions. She's a playmaker for this team. So she gets 2 free throws to go and then turns around and gets a layup.
And I think Duke is getting what they've wanted out of their zone, their defense, as far as their press, because you make an opposing team think.
Absolutely. Slows them down. Like I said, you have Balagoon at the top of that, who with her length and activity helps make this an easier deflection and turnover to get, and it leads to the layup for Oliver.
You can see the nice fist bump there as well with Oliver and Kara Lawson. As you're looking at why they are only one loss on the season, the scoring defense, you can see third in NCAA, first in the ACC. And we've seen different opponents within even the ACC and how they've held them at 51 points per game or even less.
Yeah, it's been an emphasis. It's their identity this season, and they're all locked into doing that. So even when they're having trouble scoring the ball, which is how they started this game, they end up 1 point right now because of their defense.
Latson finds the ball back in her hands. Bajetti, quick three, and is knocked down by Oliver, so that's going to be 3 coming from the charity stripe.
Definitely some contact there. It's hard to do. Bajetti's been shooting the ball so well as of late, so you have to run out and contest. Just need to chop your feet and close out without committing that foul.
Quick release. Bajetti, as we mentioned, just one of those players, I can say for both sides, the bench has been really key in their success throughout this season, but Sarah Bajetti in the last 5 games has been very impressive in how she's been able to step up, shooting a very efficient number from the 3-point line and even in double figures for the Noles this season.
She truly has. We saw her really emerge in that Boston College loss, but I feel like she took that confidence and she's continued to be a force on the offensive end, looking for her shot, being aggressive, where she's traditionally been known as an irritant defender for this Seminoles group.
Coach calls her the physical guard, the best defender, so that's another impressive thing about how the Noles value her. A nice bounce pass on the inside, but that's broken up by Latson. Duke will get it back with 12 underneath. So Florida State struggling from the floor over their last 7 outside of free throws, and 8 on the shot clock. Brown turns around. Bounce out of bounds, and Timpson is able to get the ball back. Quick as they come. It was almost like we were watching her and seeing everything unfold. And one for Latson.
She gets downhill, gets the play at that fast pace. She just gets it out of that pressure. She gets in the middle, gets right into the seams, takes a nice little pull up from the ACC and knocks it down.
That foul was on Heidi. Oh, and a double dribble at the top of the key. A little bit of indecisiveness there, and the tough part about that is this is the 7th turnover for Duke.
And the tempo of this game has been pretty fast. Kara mentioned when we talked to her that she wants the game to be up-tempo. She wants them to play their pace, and we know Florida State likes to play fast. And you see both teams really getting the ball up the floor, whether it's off the pass or the dribble. Have another turnover, this time by Latson.
So both teams struggling to take care of the ball at this point. Florida State right now with 4 turnovers, and that one leads to another look for Duke on the other side. So even what Kara Lawson was telling us, we have to find ways to make our defense create our offense.
And that's exactly how you do it. You're able to either get them to take tough shots and get the rebound and get out in transition, or off of turnovers, being able to attack the paint and give yourself a chance to score some layups or get to the free throw line.
Ball game. After a slow start from Duke right out of the gate, Florida State got off to a 6-0 start. So Duke has done that before. North Carolina, their first attempt, and then Syracuse came in their home and did the same thing as well, but they were able to get that one out with a win. Timpson underneath. We talked about the physicality. She's shown it in the first half.
It's extremely physical, but that is, like I said, she's a composed player. She sticks with it, gets the loose ball in the offensive rebound, and is able to make a tough finish under the basket.
Dish on the outside, stoppage of play. and there's a 3-second call that's going to go against Duke.
Here you see Makayla Timpson getting offensive rebounds like she does and finishes. That's a tough finish, and being able to control that ball with the defense right there grabbing at it, she's off to a great start.
Nice look on the inside by Valenzuela. Almost runs through that one from Oliver. She's able to track it down. Forestdale sends it up to De-Jesus, and she knocks it down for the 3.
And she has been a shot maker for the Blue Devils. She's a great shooter from three-point range, and that's a shot that they needed at this moment.
Bajetti thought she saw daylight. That's blocked from behind. Duke has numbers. Forestdale sends it up. About 3-second difference between game and shot clock. Shot clock now off. Florida State can hold for the last shot of the first half. Sarah Bajetti waiting till the 10-second mark. Rips it around at the top of the key. Valenzuela thought she had something. Timpson can't get anything off over Heidi. So that will bring the first quarter to an end. We saw a little bit of everything. Florida State, though, had the lead wire to wire. So we'll be right back right now. Duke.
Running a food pantry can be a lot of work.
So the starters do start the second quarter for Duke. You can see the zone that's applied from Florida State. Latson trying to get a hand on it. Richardson recovers. Day-Wilson and Celeste Taylor have been held scoreless so far, looking for their first points in the second quarter. Taylor with a nice rebound.
It's a great offensive rebound, but this Florida State defense is really doing a good job at making Duke take their time and being there on every catch.
Reagan Richardson was able to find her way in the paint. Timpson with the foul. But another second chance opportunity. They already have 4 points in that department as far as Duke. Another thing to look at is Duke is out rebounding Florida State by 4 at this point. And Brooke Wyckoff saying we have to own the glass.
For sure, and even if it doesn't always lead to points, you can't give teams extra possessions. So Florida State will definitely have to lock in and really try to control that defensive board.
Especially when Florida State comes into this matchup being second in total rebounds. Duke at 10. You can definitely look at how Timpson has been a big key in that as well. Bajetti able to get out of the trap and just trying to settle things down for Florida State as well.
And this is the first time I really saw that. A lot of times so far in this game, Duke's press has been able, and you see the nice and one from Makayla Timpson. She is just playing amazing right now.
I think the thing that you have to realize in her play at this point is the growth that we've seen from season 1 to season 2. More physical, and then obviously too on the block, just a bit of more maturity in her moves getting to the rim.
Yeah, she's a candidate for most improved for sure in the ACC, and it's the composure. As a sophomore, she just really is even keeled. You never see her get too high or too low, and she just shows up and does what's needed for her team to be successful.
There's a violation, so she'll get another shot at a free throw. She's doubled her points average since her freshman season. She was averaging about 6 there, and now you can see how she just continued to just blossom in her sophomore year. And Florida State with a lot of youth that we've seen in the ACC and being rewarded in their accolades.
And some of these growing pains kind of come from that. You know, they do have some young players that they need to perform and be significant parts of a team. So there's some growth in doing that.
Celeste Taylor trying to thread the needle and get it to Brown. That's knocked out of bounds. They'll get it back with 5 on the shot clock. And Florida State has tried to collapse on the inside, knowing that Duke is very efficient as well with scoring and getting to the rim. Richardson curls, baseline shot, bounces off.
Did a nice job of being able to have a quick release on that shot. But again, Florida State is there on every catch.
Timpson tried an up and under move, gets her own rebound, and a lot of hands coming in. Celeste Taylor got the tie up, but Florida State will get it back.
Timpson brings it down on that rebound and just gives the guard a chance to swoop in there and tie her up.
Timpson once again drawing the foul. So coming into this ball game, we talked to Kara Lawson. She said, you know what, this is going to be a tough match because we can say we need to do this well, we need to do this well, naming all the different things that you have to do in order to keep Florida State out of the game. She said, even if you do those things well, that's a maybe we can get a win. That's how tough it is to win in the ACC.
It really is tough on every night. No matter where you are in the standings in this league, you have to bring your best game and be ready to play.
Kara Lawson knows a thing or two about winning. But credit to Duke as well. They're off to one of their best starts in recent history. Have the 18-2 overall record, 8-1 in ACC play. Their first loss in ACC play came to North Carolina, and that was a slow start for them as well. Went down to the wire in that rivalry.
It was a slow start. It was also probably a game that kind of highlighted that they needed to be better defensively one-on-one in protecting the paint. And then they came out against a Syracuse team who has great guards, dynamic scorers, and was able to make that adjustment.
Right. Their 8-1 start in league play actually marks a program best dating back to the 2013-2014 season. Latson trying to work her way on the inside, rolls around. Oliver surveying the lane, dials her own number. Celeste Taylor with a nice rebound, just can't convert. And she's still held to a donut on the score sheet.
Given some of the coverages that Latson has seen the last few games, I like the looks that she's getting today. She's able to play in some more space and isolate some more instead of having to drive into 2 and 3 defenders.
We've seen some good minutes from Brianna Snoop Turnage as well. The team calls her Snoop Bajetti. Blocked at the top of the key by Taylor.
Is a terrific defender for this Blue Devils group. She's the competitive leader. They feed off of her toughness, so they go as she goes at times.
And that may not always be offensively for Duke, and that's something that we've been talking with Kara Lawson as well. Like, she doesn't have to always score for them to be impacted by her presence on the floor, as we saw.
She just needs to compete. She needs to have that toughness, communicate to her teammates, kind of set the tone by example.
Less than 10 for the Noles to work with. Aaron Howard finds Snoop Turnage. Not a lot of time to get it off and not a lot of real estate, as that's going to be a shot clock violation. You can see Kara Lawson very pleased with that last defensive series.
Yeah, every defensive possession is not going to always end in a rebound or a steal. To be able to play the full shot clock, play positions, keep your man in front of you, not get beat, and end with a contested shot is a great defensive possession.
Also the 4th turnover for Florida State. They haven't scored in the last 2:30. So as far as the adjustments coming into the second quarter, Duke really tying it down on the defensive end. Bajetti held up. Nice transition defense by Duke as well.
Yeah, which is going to be important, especially the way that this Florida State team likes to get the ball up the floor and score in transition. Duke's going to have to sprint back.
Area Seminole, number 1, Shayeann Day-Wilson, number 11, Taylor O'Brien.
So Jasmine Massengill as well as Taylor O'Brien check in for Florida State. Massengill, the transfer from Kentucky. There's another foul that's being assessed against Day-Wilson. And resets the clock. So that's her second personal foul, so quickly, without hesitation. And Duke DeJesus checks in.
And Duke likes to play physical, but it's been an emphasis that Florida State is great from the free throw line. So the more that you foul them, the more you give them chances at the line. They're already 5 of 9. They're not finishing at the clip that I'm sure they want to, but they already have 9 free throws. And now another trip to the free throw line right here.
And then even after this next foul, they'll be in the bonus for the duration of the second quarter.
Shooting 2, Mariana Valenzuela.
So Mariana Valenzuela steps up to the free throw line. All right, coming up next, we'll take you to Clemson for the Tigers, taking on 15th ranked North Carolina, and the quadruple header is capped off by Virginia, hosting number 12 Virginia Tech. And those are games you definitely want to check out. See North Carolina, as we mentioned, Duke gets lone loss of the season. And Deja Kelly just really emerging in her last few games.
It's a great offensive rebound by DeJesus.
And a travel violation, so they're getting what they want off of boards, but just can't convert.
They can't convert. And you have to like some of that. There have been spurts of where we have seen the Duke defense that we're used to seeing, but they need to finish it. They need to capitalize off of their hustle plays, and that includes offensive rebounds.
I tell you this, as far as both teams struggling offensively, it's been a scoring drought for Duke, closing in on the 4-minute mark. And no field goals for Florida State in the last 3 minutes as well. Outside of that, must have heard me on the broadcast. So Taylor O'Brien is now on the scoreboard for her first two.
Who's known for being a spark off the bench. Before her injury earlier in the season, she was actually second on the team in scoring.
Yeah, missed 10 games with that lower leg injury, but just understanding what her purpose is, as you can see, working her way on the inside, and that's denied on the inside by Kennedy Brown. She's been a force in really protecting the paint for Duke. Taylor, short. Taylor tries to see if she can get another look at it on the other side. Taylor has done everything that she can to get extra possession. She gets fouled there.
I think the tempo of this game right now benefits Florida State. I think Duke can definitely play up tempo, but the way that they are not scoring at the level that Florida State is right now, the tempo is in favor of the Seminoles.
So we will step aside, and on the other side of the break, we will welcome to the broadcast Sue Semrau, after 25 seasons retiring and being honored here at Florida State.
New customers get our best deals on.
At this point, and maybe it's because they have their all-time winning coach and Sue Semrau in the building and making sure they celebrate Sue Semrau and everything she's given back to this program. And that's the definition of what she has been able to do, is build this program. So, of course, we are so honored to welcome you to the broadcast booth. We know you've been here a couple of times, but for us, this is very special. I know that we were able to see you being honored at half court and given your flowers, and they're so deserving. But when you're receiving that and actually allowing the fans to even say thank you, what was going through your mind at that point?
Well, honestly, what was going through my mind is the lead, 22-13.
All right, calm down over here.
I know. We got a little battle going, but no, I mean, seriously, it's just fun to be at a game and, you know, to be on the other side of it. You know, I love what's happening right here.
You said you love what's happening. Well, you have to even talk about what Brooke Wyckoff has been able to do. She was the interim head coach for you when you stepped away, and what everything she was able to do then, even getting Coach of the Year award nominations, and just seeing how she was able to like really invest in the team at that point. How proud of you to see her now taking over the reins, and you coached her as well.
Yeah, you know, I think COVID is hard for anybody, but what Brooke did during that COVID year was phenomenal. I was glad I wasn't coaching, and I tell you, it was tough. So she is prepared and has done a phenomenal job so far with this team, and it'll only get better.
I think just looking at it from my perspective, one of the coolest things just seeing how you've been honored is just seeing how you built the program. And so you can see the different things that you've been able to do, the 3 Elite Eights, the appearances in the NCAA tournament, and the 2 ACC championships. But what it comes down to is that you're a builder of community and people. And so I can say that it's very impressive on our side, just seeing the community come together. And one thing that I really valued was how you made us see how important it was to give back.
Well, and I just see so many alumni that came back because they love this university, and that's a good block right there.
And that's
another good block. There we go.
Yeah, we have seen some great defense in this game so far.
It really has been. I mean, look at this. It's just timing. And these athletes now are just so incredibly gifted that their ability, not only athletically, but to time things.
When we talked to Coach Brooke earlier in this season, she talked about the culture. And I think that that's what she loves the most about her team, is that family culture, the competitiveness. And for sure, that has to be something that comes from you.
Well, I think it comes from all of the players. They know why they're here. They want to work together, and they don't care who gets the credit. It's been fantastic to watch that continue. Brooke started that as a player.
So going back to even now, how Duke is really emerging in this ball game. We said it was going to be a slugfest as far as the #1 scoring defense, the #1 scoring offense. But as far as Florida State, last couple of trips down the floor, we've seen some turnovers. Makayla Timpson trying to see if she can get something there, and that's a travel call. So that's 3 consecutive turnovers for Florida State.
And you see Duke doing it by their defense. What they want to do is to be able to convert their defense into offense and make better decisions off of those plays. So you see them get out in transition, get a layup, and then you see a wide open 3-point jumper. And that's how they want to do it.
Well, you know this is an elite level when the score is 20-22 at this point. I mean, this is an elite level defense on both sides.
So right now, Duke on a 7-0 run, scoring drought for close to 3 minutes for Florida State, but most importantly, they've given up 4 turnovers in the last 2 minutes as well, and Duke now ties this ball game 22-all off of those turnovers as well.
On another offensive rebound. We've talked about that a bit during this game, is that Duke is getting the offensive rebounds, but not necessarily converting them and turning them into points. And there you see the emphasis on converting.
And another turnover at the top of the key. De Jesus saw some daylight, and she's actually going to get the ball back. But to your point, 11 offensive rebounds to Florida State's 4. And I know, Coach Sue, I know you're retired, but that's something where you're like, what are they going to do in order to change that?
Well, I know that that's something they struggled with up at Notre Dame, and so they have put an emphasis on it, but they've got to put bodies on people. That'll be a big difference here going through this half and then the second half.
Heidi had a nice look on the right side. Missed the target. Amaria Gordon at the top of the key. Backdoor cut by Latson. No connection there. As Florida State looking for their first bucket in 3 minutes. Aaron Howard sends it at the top of the key. Gordon with a much-needed bucket as they give Florida State the lead with 2:18 left.
And she's money from there. You know, she's such a special player. She's small, but she is mighty.
She was another Florida Gatorade Player of the Year her freshman year coming in, getting compared to the likes of Courtney Ward during my tenure, and a player that comes off the bench and can provide so much for Florida State as there's a foul that's issued on the floor. And so we have some stoppage of play here. I think it's picture time. You think so?
Oh, look at that.
16 NCAA tournament appearances. Coach, I tell you what, just how you prepared us to get to each one, and even seeing alumni weekend and talking to different players from different times, and they all say we were challenged, we wanted to be great, as Latson gets the nice steal here, and a beautiful block by Celeste Taylor from behind.
We go block again. It's a block party here.
Not giving up on plays. That was a terrific rundown block.
Celeste Taylor, we talked about it. Kara Lawson said she doesn't have to just score in order for her to impact this team. She does all the little things, and you can just see right there, not building on that 2-point lead that Florida State has with less than 90 seconds to go in this first half.
It's the toughness. You can easily give that layup up and just let it go. Maybe not wanting to foul, but she's a tough competitor, and she wanted to get that
again,
block.
just elite level play.
Yep.
Elite.
Maxengill can't connect. Gordon is able to scoop that one up. Works away on the inside, bounces around. Timpson, board. Timpson, another board. Timpson draws the foul and will step up to the free throw line for 2. Relentless play underneath.
I love her. I love watching her play. She just has such a great knack for the ball and rebounds, and she can, it doesn't matter how many it takes, she's going to continue to pursue the ball.
I mean, I call her a pogo stick. She just can jump like crazy. She can run like crazy, and she's developed into a franchise type of player. She's tremendous. Just from a little town in Georgia.
I need to get the number on her wingspan. She's super long.
Super long, yes. And does such great things with it too. It's, you know, you get people that are super long, but they don't play that hard. And KK Timpson has played that hard since day one at Florida State.
We talked about her being one of those players that has to be recognized for most improved in this season after what she did in her freshman year, doubling her points average. But even more than that, on the other side, defensively, leads the league in blocks and is one of those players in this program history that has a good opportunity to even pass Jacinta Monroe, who holds the blocks record.
Yeah, good friend of yours and a tremendous player.
I think I love her communication. You don't always see post players that are communicating. And now she's going coast to coast.
A block ball. She said, you know what? I can do it all for Florida State at this point.
I think she knew we were talking about her. I said, put the camera on me. I'm ready to go.
I think when you started talking about her, Coach G, that's when she really felt the juice going. You called her the pogo stick. I think she does so many different things well. I think it's really cool that she designs her own shoes even in her spare time. But if you could compare her to anyone that you've seen in your time, who would it be and why?
It's a great question. You know, she is a lot like Jacinta Monroe with her length. And you mentioned Jacinta Monroe having a blocks record, but she took over Brooke Wyckoff's block record.
Yep. Wow.
I mean, it's pretty phenomenal to see the growth, see the phases of the program. And, you know, KK has an opportunity to do that.
Wow, that's awesome. And you've been a part of that from start to finish, so that's really awesome that you get to see that and witness it as well. 6 seconds left.
Oh.
And Jesus sends it to Oliver. Oliver to Brown on the inside. It's knocked away a little bit, bounces around, and a nice rebound by Aaron Howard. 9 seconds left for Florida State. As we bring the first half to a close, we've seen a little bit of everything. 6-point lead for Florida State. Latson at the lead, at the buzzer, and gets it to go. And Tanaya Latson puts a nice exclamation point on that first surge for Florida State, taking their lead to 8, heading into halftime.
She is a special player. She could have settled for the jumper, but
a few different things that were standing out to us in the first half. The combined turnovers, 13 turnovers for Duke. In that first quarter, they had 6 alone. So just a slow start for them offensively as we get things going in the second half. But more importantly, the 8-0 run that Florida State went on at the end of that second quarter in order to give them the 8-point lead at this point.
Yeah, you're going to want to see Florida State take care of the ball because Duke is trying to turn those turnovers into points. And then on the other end, Duke and their turnovers, they do not want to let Florida State get out in transition. So being able to take care of the ball is going to help with that.
So as we reset, Angel Gray here with you alongside former Duke standout, Jasmine Thomas.
You got to call yourself former Florida State Duke standout today, too.
Today?
Yeah.
I don't know. Today. I feel like I sat a lot. Less than 5 to go on the shot clock. Makayla Timpson going at Brown off the glass, and why not? Kisses it for another 2.
She is really showing her full capability today, being able to catch the ball on the block and make post moves. That was a nice just turnaround shot. We know she's a great rebounder and finisher. We know she gets a lot of points off that, but she is really doing it all today.
A foul is going to be assessed against Florida State, but going back to KK, she's having herself a day.
Yeah, if you absolutely go to your hot hand, she just takes that one dribble and puts it up on the glass with a nice touch.
Entering the Seminole lineup, number
Last
5,
year's all-ACC freshman team as well as all-academic team. This year's been nominated for Player of the Week as well, with a couple of nice performances that she's had. Top of the key look for Taylor, who has struggled. Only one field goal for her on this ball game. 1 for 7, 0 for 3 from 3. Bajetti gets her in the air and gets the 2 to drop.
It's a nice, smart play to just be composed, do the shot flake. I'm sure she remembered that block from Taylor earlier in the game, and just a nice, smart play and good finish.
Brown trying to work herself on the inside. You saw the double team come from Florida State as well.
Here you see Bajetti sprinting the floor in transition with the shot fake and finish.
Just to go back to Timpson as well. She's coming off of a double-double. Now, they didn't get the results that they wanted from Notre Dame. Their lowest scoring output of the season at 47. Latson, full speed ahead. And that's a train you don't want to get in front of.
The Seminoles just look comfortable. They look like they are playing their game. It's what you expect to see from them coming off of that Notre Dame game. It's a different team today.
I think, too, are you surprised at all that it's only 6 fast break points for them?
I am surprised. I think they could have converted a little better in the, I want to say, around the first quarter, but I mean, they're getting some opportunities.
Richardson misses the mark there. Bajetti there to clean up the play. Duke shooting 17% from the field.
Yeah, you know, Coach Latson said it when we talked to her, that a big part of this would be that they have to make shots. They are a great defensive team. They have done some things defensively that have been great today, but at the end of the day, they still have to be able to score points.
DeJesus comes in for Shayeann Day-Wilson.
Going to the line, number 4.
I think on the other side, you saw the pressure. If you're looking at it from a coaching perspective, how Florida State struggled when there was a matchup zone or even in their previous 2. And they were forced to shoot a lot of threes. In this ball game, they've only attempted 3, but this is a team that has attempted more threes than any other team in the ACC. So finding something in the paint.
Yeah, they haven't had to. I mean, they had 16 points in the paint, so that was when the half started. So I feel like they are, like I said, they're comfortable. They're playing their style of basketball. They have not had to rely on shooting threes. And I think that's the adjustment that Duke needs to make. They want to play their style of basketball. They want to stick to their philosophy, but it might be time to make a little bit of that adjustment and kind of crowd the paint.
Latson goes flying over Richardson, so she picks up her first personal foul. So Duke looking for any type of answer on the offensive end here in the second half. As Florida State is just really packing the paint and forcing them to finish over them. Bajetti, too strong on the shot, but an O board that actually falls in the hands of Florida State. Say a reset is gonna have to be looked at here on the shot clock.
Credit to Bajetti's teammates for running with her and staying in that play. That was a tough take on 3 people, but, you know, being there to pursue that rebound and give them another possession is huge.
See the foul there by Richardson.
Duke foul, 24. Richardson, her third, 15 seconds.
So that's her 3rd personal foul. There's no other player outside of Day-Wilson that has her 3 as well. You can see now after that last foul, she is now on the bench. That's what brought Vanessa DeJesus back into the ball game, and another foul is going to be called. This one going against Sarah Bajetti. So you start thinking about all the fouls that have been compiled in this point.
Checks in the lineup.
And Mariah Gordon checks in.
Come on, defense! Come on, deep!
Looking at the level of aggression, too, in this ball game. Duke has shot 9 free throws. Florida State 17. Florida State averages 22 free throws a game. Today they've already shot the 17, so something to definitely keep an eye on. dish on the inside. This one falls in the hands of Kennedy Brown. That's her first bucket of the ball game.
And definitely a bucket that they needed. It wasn't what was drawn up, but it is definitely a good attack on the inside.
And on the other side, she picks up the foul because she's trying everything in her power to contain Timpson. And she draws the foul on the reverse.
Second, team's third. Going to the line for the Seminoles,
You see Balagoon has 2 on her, finds Kennedy Brown underneath for the lay-in.
So Kennedy Brown on that side hits her first field goal of the ball game. Also has 7 rebounds, but picked up her second foul as she sends KK Timpson to the free throw line. And that's where she has definitely had her bread and butter, because now she's 6 for 8 from the charity stripe. Already mentioned she's really flirting with a double-double so far in this ball game, has 7 rebounds to add to her 16 points. Nice dish on the inside, but can't convert for Brown.
And Kennedy Brown has to finish that. That's a great execution in the pick and roll. The pass was right on target. She just has to take her time to finish that strong.
Kennedy Brown rather, 1 for 8 from the field. Another foul assessed, and we can just see each attempt down the floor for Florida State. There's been a foul called in the last 4 possessions.
They're being aggressive, and you know, Duke needs to kind of adjust to the game. They've been calling it all game. That is why Florida State has been getting to the free throw line. That's why the foul numbers are high. They want to play tough defense, but they got to do it without fouling.
Nice dish today, Jesus in transition. A rare bucket for Duke.
Which is something you're going to need them see. They need to get more possessions. They need to get more shots on goal. So being able to get out in transition and get some easy points will help.
And as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, their bench has really kept them in this ball game. As far as their starters, they only have 4 field goals amongst the 5. Timpson just continues to pile it on. So her single game high as far as career points is 25 versus Miami. She just continues to build on it. She gets a quick break.
A well-deserved break. She has really been all over the floor. She is having a great game today.
Valencia Myers comes and checks in for Timpson. You see Celeste Taylor as well, trying to do her part in keeping the ball out of Latson's hand. We asked Coach what the scouting report would be against tonight, and she said limit her touches. Easier said than done, as you can see.
She keeps her dribble. She breaks the pressure, gets to that top of the key, kind of changes pace, and just gets down a lane line for a layup. If it's the communication, it's kind of Duke running into each other. And now here you have her again in the open floor.
Latson thought about the 3. Valenzuela all the way to the rim. And it's the points in the paint as well at this point. Florida State, 26-14 in that department.
And you can't be surprised by it, because they got beat by Notre Dame on that the game before. And they were disappointed with that performance. So to see them make that change this game is exactly what I'm sure Coach Wyckoff is happy to see her team do.
To continue to struggle from the field. Florida State right now on a 6-0 run over the last minute. That can't connect. And that was their first miss in their last 3 trips. Celeste Taylor trying to work her way all the way in. A foul is assessed. And so Duke will slow things down with an opportunity to cut into this deficit, as Taylor will step with 2 free throws after the break.
North Carolina, Clemson.
Wow, what a drive!
Virginia Tech, Virginia.
I'm just letting you know right now, this is my house, and I'm about to make a shit.
Okay.
I mean, when in Tallahassee, you do have to do the job. Always fun on the broadcast with you, but it's very unique to have Duke and Florida State represented on the broadcast as well. I will say this, you didn't get a nice warm-up. I had a nice smoothie, you had a carb, but I know you're working your way back.
You made a lot of shots on this court. We'll let you have it. Good cheat on the half court.
I think you've made a lot of shots on this court as well, so I'm not even going to take that from you, and you have a nice lustrous career in the WNBA as well.
Thank you. But plenty of good battles here.
Yeah,
it was fun,
absolutely.
that Duke-Florida State matchup.
And no doubt it's been a battle for today as well. Florida State had their biggest lead, 17. Celeste Taylor was able to knock down a free throw, but down the stretch, it just comes down to how is Duke going to generate some offense on this end?
I think you'll see the press. You know, that's their bread and butter. They're going to stick to the press, try to speed them up, try to get some turnovers. But this Florida State team has a good rhythm right now. They are feeling confident. They are scoring it at a high clip.
45 points for Florida State. Carol Lawson said, we just can't allow this game to get out of hand as far as scoring for Florida State. We can't have a game in the 90s. But I think for her as well, she was predicting that her team would really bounce back as far as scoring as well. So we know that they have the #1 scoring defense, but what has Florida State done well? Or is it more so they're getting the looks, but not just converting?
I mean, Florida State is still a good defensive team. They have a good guard defense. They have length and protection in the paint. So I think they've just made it tough. You know, they've been there on every catch. They've been physical. They've done a good job defensively as well.
Duke 9 for 48 from the field, as we mentioned, shooting less than 20%. Sarah Bajetti, it's just been the Noles.
And they're scoring quick. You know, they're scoring in the first few seconds of the shot clock. And, you know, I feel like for Duke to get back in this game, they obviously need to get some turnovers and extra possessions. But, you know, when you're just feeling it and knocking down the jumpers left and right, Sarah Bajetti has been great as of late.
Florida State with their biggest lead of the ball game at 20. As that one rims in and out for Maya Heidi. Gets the second of the pair. For the duration of this third period, Duke is in the bonus. And you can see the full court press as Gordon comes back for the ball. Another thing for Duke as well is just how they're able to get points in the paint. You've seen a lot of the emphasis with how they've been trying to get it over Timpson, but they just haven't been able to connect in different levels of playing at this point.
Yeah, and I feel like Duke just hasn't had a rhythm. They haven't been able to string together some scores, whereas on the flip side, Florida State has been able to do that. And while the press is effective and it gets them to speed up, they can't relax in the half court. They have to keep being disruptive and keep speeding Florida State up and hope that they can miss some shots and they can get some rebounds and get back on the offensive end.
Foul on the play. I'm not sure if that was continuous, as you can see. Myers picks up the foul there. Timpson checks back in. That's her fourth personal foul. So it's going to bring Timpson back in from her break in the third. Another thing to look at, too, is FSU with an advantage in the third quarter where they completely erupted. 17-6 advantage. Heidi knocks down the first one.
They really dominated in the quarter, and that's where the separation happened.
Shooting close to 80% from the free throw line, gets both of them.
And you see the Duke defense relax. To me, I feel like they still need to stay up in pressure and keep speeding Florida State up.
Gordon misses the mark. They're saying it's a foul on the inside. They're saying that foul is going to go against Jackson. That's her first personal foul, as Jesus will take a seat for Duke. And now both teams are in the bonus with 1:55 left in the third quarter. Back iron for Timpson. She has 18 points today.
Leaving a few of them out there at the free throw line.
And leaves another 6 for 11 from the free throw line. And really trying to see if she can pick up her third 20-point performance of the season, but doesn't get it at the charity stripe. 17-point ball game. We saw how fast this was able to happen as well, but for Duke, they're still looking for answers, even from their starting five. Shayeann Day-Wilson has been held scoreless. We highlighted her in the beginning of the game. She's 0 for 3 in this ball game.
And she's a terrific scorer. She is someone that can create their own shot. So to maybe see her look to be a little aggressive going into the fourth quarter.
Foul, 42, Heidi, her third.
So Heidi picks up her third personal foul. That's going to lead to more free throws. I think this puts Timpson back on the free throw line. To the play here.
It's an easy call to make. Just her momentum takes her into Timpson and knocks her out of bounds. It's always going to be a foul.
So Timpson gets another opportunity. You said she was leaving a couple of them out there on the free throw line, which she has been to more than any player in this ball game. She shot 12 free throws.
And she has a nice looking shot. You know, it's just a matter of the confidence in it and seeing it go down.
So she shot 12 free throws. Duke has shot 15 as a team. Knocks down the second. 90 to play in the third. As Florida State has just owned this third frame of the ball game. Going back to the second quarter, Duke was able to go on that 9-0 run to tie it at 22 after a slow start. And a big shot at the top of the key by Richardson. Florida State responded with an 8-0 run to close out the half, and they built on that lead in the third quarter, as you're seeing now.
It's a great find by the freshman, Ashlyn Jackson, to find Reagan Richardson at the top for a wide open shot.
I think Richardson has been one of those players that has been showing us a lot in her previous games, but can definitely step it up. But for Florida State, I mean, for you to knock down your first three at this point, they have been able to balloon their lead and have a 20-point lead at some point in this game without even hitting a three. That was their first three of the ball game.
And Erin Howard is a three-point shooter. So you question just if Duke is still engaged and locked in defensively.
Talked about threes. Well, Erin Howard with her 17th straight game with a three. Knocks the lone one for Florida State. Day-Wilson getting some instruction from Coach Latson.
Definitely going to use all of this time to not give Florida State another opportunity to score in the corner.
Off the mark, an O board, nothing there, but finally Richardson, who has shown a lot of aggression throughout this ball game. We saw her in the second quarter, an emphasis for their offense. We saw her with 2 touches, she got 2 buckets, and now you can see her now in the third quarter really trying to take this game in her hands.
She is a great energy player. You see her just stay on the offensive glass. She's able to really score it, and you know, she's just a sophomore, so she's coming into her own, but you know, it's players like her that play hard no matter what the score is.
As we mentioned, a sophomore out of Charlotte, North Carolina, played her freshman season at UGA. Averaging about 7 points per game. She's at 5 at this point. And we talked about her aggression. She's 3 for 4 from the free throw line. She'll take a seat with 4.3 left in the third quarter as Oliver checks back in the ball game for Duke. De Jesus is able to knock that one out. Who does it go off of? They'll say it goes back to the Noles. 1.9, they'll have to go the length of the floor. Full court, Timpson thought about it. The crowd wanted her to shoot it. She said, nah, I think I'm just gonna keep my efficient field goal percentage in place. So Florida State with an impressive third quarter, 21-12. Duke has some time to make it up in the fourth quarter.
You'd do anything to give her everything.
They just have a really nice rhythm. They're playing as a team. They're playing confident and playing their Florida State basketball.
They're playing KK basketball at this point because she has 19 points, 9 rebounds. As you can see, just a rebound away. As you can see, the tail of the tape on the side of the screen as well. Latson trying to get to the rim. Nothing called there. Kanaya Latson only shot 3 free throws in this ball game, but more importantly, for Duke, they just trying to find different ways to put a little bit more pressure on the defense for Florida State.
Yeah, and not what you want to see as a possession to start the quarter.
So Joseph Vasily trying to get things clarified with where that went off of, or what team that went off of. He changes the call and says it's going back to Florida State. I think another thing to look at too is just, this is the third top 25 matchup that we've seen within the ACC on the women's basketball side, and how tough it is. The net, they have 6 teams in the top 25 as far as net. Charlie Cream has already predicted that they'll have 8 teams going into the NCAA tournament, the recent bracketology. So every game is a dogfight, but for this game in itself, Florida State has only lost 1 game at home. That came against Louisville, and looking at Duke and how they've had their best start program with the 8-1 start in ACC play, now threatened a bit to drop their second one in the conference.
It's just going to be a good stretch for them to grow as a road team, learning how to win on the road. They're going to be challenged coming down toward the end, you know, these last few games of the season, having to play a few of them on the road instead of being at home. And there's a lot of time left in this game. You know, it's time for things to click, shots can go in. So Florida State needs to be disciplined and be able to close out a game, and Duke needs to find their rhythm, find some success, and whatever happens with the outcome, they take that momentum into the next game.
I think a key point that Carol Lawson was telling us before the game too is she said we've had 7 different players that have led us in scoring. So we have to realize that we have the depth, we have the players in order to step up, and they have the minutes as well. We've seen her go deep into her bench more than any other team in the ACC. So how do they step up now with a little under 9 minutes to go in this ball game? We'll see.
Just put the ball in the basket too. They've had some good looks that they haven't finished, and then they've had some times where they couldn't find the shot that they wanted. When they've really settled and got the ball where they wanted it to, whether that was on the low post or, you know, penetrating, kicking, and finding some wide open jumpers, they've had some success.
I want to see if they can get Kennedy Brown involved a little bit more as well as that rolls out for Balagoon.
And that's a great look. Those are the shots that I'm talking about. They have some good looks. You just got to finish them.
And Florida State just keeps pouring them in. Mariana Valenzuela gets the assist from Timpson, so she just does it all. Timpson gets a stop there as well. Is Duke in desperate need of a bucket? Bajetti. Sarah Bajetti with the emphatic emotion in front of these fans, and for right reason, as they have the 21-point lead over 16th-ranked Duke.
And there you see just a nice three-point basket. They just have all the momentum right now, and they look great.
And here's our Wednesday college basketball doubleheader right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. Blake Hinson in Pittsburgh are in Chapel Hill to take on Caleb Love and Armando Baycott, North Carolina at 7 Eastern. And then it's down the road to Raleigh. Jaquavion Smith, who has been on fire as far as points in this league. They're hosting Matthew Cleveland in Florida State. Florida State dropped a thrilling game just last night on their home floor against Clemson. Florida State trying to find their footing in this league as Clemson is still at the top of the rankings and found themselves in the top 25 in their league play as well. Foul on the play. It's going to go against Timpson. And that's her third personal. Myers checks in the ball game. She has 4 personal fouls as well. Timpson gets a little bit of a pep talk and pat on the back from Brooke Wyckoff. Taylor, who continues to struggle from the field, 1 for 9, and that's another thing. The shots in rhythm, they're getting their looks. Just an off night collectively. You don't see that very often from Duke.
Yeah, and it happens sometimes, you know. It's what you can take from this game and learn from it, learn as you go. Still got to stay confident and take the good shots.
We talked about staying confident and taking the good shots. So when does it become go time for even Shayeann Day-Wilson, who's 0 for 3 from the field at this point, as that hit misses the mark for Heidi?
I mean, I've seen Coach Latson a few times from the sideline kind of just, you know, ushering her team to go, push it up the floor. Don't get hesitant, you know, keep playing their basketball, keep hunting for shots.
Turnage turns around, misses the box. And Myers able to draw the fouls on the offensive board. So that's another thing coming into this ball game. We've talked about it throughout this broadcast, how Florida State responds after their toughest loss of the season. If you're going back to that box score, it was a tough one for them. They had the lead going into halftime. They wind up losing at Notre Dame 70-47. And we asked Coach Wyckoff, is that one of those games where you say, throw away the tape, or we're going to watch the tape and learn from it? And she said, we have to learn from it.
And they have definitely responded today. They are 41-38 on the total rebounds for today. So they definitely made that an emphasis, and they responded and met that challenge.
They highlighted the duo coming into this one for Florida State, and they have not disappointed. Tonight, Latson with 11 points. She leads the league in scoring, as well as Timpson with 19 and 9, seeing if she can pick up her third 20-point performance of the season. As Duke gets their first points of the fourth quarter.
And Duke is still doing a great job on the offensive rebound. So you see Taya Crosdale put that offensive rebound in.
Latson drives left off the foul, and that will be the 5th foul that's going against Heidi, so she will be retired from this ball game. So Duke will also take this time to just reconvene and get on the same page.
At the line for the Seminoles now, Tanaya Latson, shooting 2.
Latson knocks down the first of the pair as we talk about this amazing crew that we have here every Thursday at 10 Eastern, right after our women's basketball doubleheader. The Nothing But Net crew will break down the night in the ACC with highlights and analysis of every women's game and look ahead to the best games on the schedule in the coming week. That's coverage you can only get one place, right here on the ACC network and the ESPN app. We saw another former Dookie in the studio with Lexi Brown in the studio.
Yeah.
Them as well. So you guys just taking over the broadcast.
Trying to dabble a little bit on the media side of things.
That one short for Gordon, but it's the second opportunity in the and one bucket. You're a passion player, Jasmine.
Say it again.
You're a passion player. And you know how important it is for second chance opportunities. And it's not easy, the effort, the energy that goes into it. And right now, Florida State just seems like the hungrier team.
They really do. You see Gordon there, she misses her shot. She on an almost air ball maybe, saves it from going out of bounds, gets it to her teammate who gets an offensive rebound and a putback. That's all hustle, all hustle.
So we had one player foul out on the Duke side for Heidi, and on the other side, Myers for Florida State. She will leave the ball game with 4 rebounds and 4 points. As Day-Wilson looking for her first points of the ball game. So young in her career, hasn't been seen with this type of adversity, but even going through her box scores, she's had moments, and it's been somewhat of a roller coaster at the beginning of the season, trying to see her footing and what she was going to be. The last 5 games, she's really put on and shown us what she can be offensively, but how does she bounce back from this type of performance?
You know, I think it's been more of a growth opportunity for her this season of being able to run her team, and never want to see this.
So there was a collision over by the Duke bench. Looks like Snoop Turnage taking some time to get off the floor. Brooke Wyckoff and their trainer attending to her as well, and we'll step aside as she gets help off the floor from her team.
Gatorade Fit.
Basketball presented by Food Lion. You can see Coach Sue getting her flowers and the nice basketball. And how about this? I appreciate Pat Lowry being able to send me here. Thank you so much to just see and celebrate Coach Sue, and also see everyone on Alumni Weekend. Obviously, it's always a pleasure working side by side with you, Jasmine Thomas. And
always.
You want some food for thought? Well, Makayla Timpson is a big deal.
She's been phenomenal. These are early scores from her. She started the game off super aggressive, having an impact on both ends of the floor. And we highlighted her for that reason, because she truly just impacts the game, and she's been so consistent.
She had the first 4 points for Florida State. We mentioned just that duo as well. They had the first 6 with Tania Latson getting that first bucket in transition for them as well. But she has not slowed down. And you mentioned just how impressive she's been in your eyes, but most importantly, it's just been her poise and sense of urgency in each possession.
Yeah, she just plays really hard. I love that she's a communicator. You know, I love when post players are communicators on the floor and leaders for their team, and I think that's something worth highlighting as well, is she's so locked in and engaged and talking to her teammates.
Has 10 double-doubles on the season. She's recorded 6 block shots for the second consecutive game as well, as Richardson walking and seeing if she can get past Timpson. And that looked like a clean block, but she will be able to step into the free throw line.
Does look like a clean block. But I love the aggression. I love to see her just take it in there, not be afraid, and, you know, she rewards herself at the free throw line. But I don't know.
Either way, Richardson is able to step up to the free throw line. She has 7 points, 3 for 4 from the free throw line as well. Misses the second of the pair.
Surely Timpson is in to get that rebound. We got to get that double-double, right?
You would think that At this point, you just toss it off the rim as Shayeann Day-Wilson finally able to get her first field goal of the ball game.
Like I said, the momentum of how you finish a game is just so important going into the next game.
So a travel at the top of the key. Tonight, Latson checks in the ball game for Florida State. She'll come in for Gordon. As we also see Snoop Turnage, who left the ball game right before the break. She has ice on her knee at this point, came out in crutches as well. Day-Wilson, back-to-back buckets from the field.
Yeah, and you want to see her stay aggressive to score. Hasn't been the night for the Blue Devils scoring the ball, hasn't been her night, but she's capable. We've seen it, and you want to see her stay aggressive.
But it doesn't help when you are trading buckets at this point in the ball game. If we see a couple of the reserves in for Florida State as well. Top of the key, back iron. Timpson, I think, comes down with a rebound, tips it out to Latson. And doesn't have it there. Latson, who has 15 points, 13 points rather, 15. So a little slower on the stat broadcast.
And you know, you get so used to her having 30. You know what, she has 6 30-plus point games on the season. So you see a night like today and you think she's just having a quiet game, but she's been so solid. And especially coming off of a game where she struggled a little bit, she's had a nice performance today.
How about Day-Wilson on the other side? A quick 6 points, 7 points rather. Got her first point at the free throw line, but could walk away in this ball game in double figures. Jesus gets a nice look at the other end, and a quick timeout for Brooke Wyckoff. Not too pleased with how her team is trying to close this one out. So they'll step aside. We'll step aside with them. Florida State with the advantage, but 15-15 in the fourth. A struggle from the field for Duke, but Shayeann Day-Wilson starting to really come along in this ball game. Maybe a little too late, but has the 8 points. And a turnover right out of the timeout. Brooke Wyckoff called the timeout, not too pleased with how her team was performing. To close this one out, Celeste Taylor poked from behind. Brown finds it, rims out, and it's been that type of night for Kennedy.
It really has. But I'm not surprised that Coach Brooke would call that timeout, because like I said, it's important how you finish the game. It doesn't matter if you're going to win the game. It doesn't matter if you're up, if you're down. You want to finish the game strong and take that into your next game.
And it's next game indeed. But they close this one out. As Oliver gets the look, left hand, and no good.
Just been a very, very tough night. Very tough night.
And it doesn't get that much easier. Duke will have to go back home. They host Pitt. Then they'll go on the road for 2 games. That'll be against Notre Dame and Boston College. Notre Dame, as you can already tell, with Olivia Miles at the helm, and has been on fire throughout this entire season. Dara Mabry, tough news hearing her go down with an ACL injury that is going to end her career at Notre Dame. Had a heartfelt message to her teammates and the fans. So we wish her the best going forward.
Absolutely. You hate to hear that, hate to see it. But wish her well in a strong and speedy recovery.
And just like that, Timpson has the double-double she was looking for. 21 and 10. That's her third 20-point performance of the season. Day-Wilson, after a slow start, had all her points in the fourth quarter.
And we know she can score in bunches. It's just, you know, too little, or, you know, too late. And maybe that's something that you look at moving forward, is trying to get her going when Duke's having trouble scoring, what they're shooting 25% from the floor today. If you can get some of this, this is what she does. She's a great shooter, able to find her own shot. Just need some more of that earlier in the game.
After Notre Dame, as Balagoon is struggled from the floor as well. She only has one field goal that has gone down for her. You can see them not relenting at all as we're less than a minute to go in this ball game. They'll also see Boston College, who had the upset win over Florida State, had a nice win against NC State as well. So there is no time off in any ball game for either team. Florida State, a much better performance in that Notre Dame game. And they'll see Wake Forest next on February 2nd. Wake Forest, as we mentioned at the top of the game, as Latson trying to work her way through some traffic, and that's going to be an offensive foul with .7. So Duke will get it back. A little extra.
Getting the civil lineup, number 4, Sarah Majetti. Replacing Tanaya Latson.
So Day-Wilson, the only player in double figures for Duke, and that was a flurry of points that we saw in the fourth quarter, but coming up for even Florida State. We talked about them playing Wake Forest. They'll also go to Miami. That'll be on February 9th, and they'll see the 12th ranked Virginia Tech Hokies as well. As Elizabeth Kitley, the reigning ACC Player of the Year. They've struggled throughout this season. There's been a stoppage of play. I think at this point, the officials going back to the scores table to make sure that the fouls are right. They believe there was a 5th foul that was on Shayeann Day-Wilson. It's actually her 4th. So everything's just being reorganized at the scores table. We're going to get a little bit of direction from the officials. What we were just told at the scores table from Talissa Green is that there's been an unobserved intentional foul is what we were told. Is Bragetti and Day-Wilson got a little tied up on that last series.
A little chippy. Day-Wilson stands up and, you know, after the turnover, trying to get it back. I'm not sure who they're looking at the foul on.
Well, the foul is being recessed. I think Bragetti at that point, they're saying, looking at that as well, but the initial foul was called against Day-Wilson. Now, we were thinking that it was her 5th.
Exactly.
Her 4th personal foul, so they're just seeing if this is going to be deemed that intentional foul by Bragetti. Bragetti knocks down the first one. We didn't get any clarification of what we saw at the scores table, so we're seeing that nothing was called there for egregious movements.
Yeah, I think the right decision. You know, it's been that kind of game for Duke, so you see, you know, Shayeann with the turnover and just stood up quick, and you know, Bragetti's a tough player. She didn't swing the elbow, so maybe that's why it ended up how it was. And even though she didn't get the intentional, she got the and one right there. So
what's the difference that you've seen in Shayeann Day-Wilson in this quarter that was somewhat lacking in the previous 3?
I just think of hunting for her shot. She really was looking to score. I also think that the defense of Florida State wasn't as aggressive right now here in this last quarter. You saw the timeout from Coach Brooke a little earlier because of that.
14 points for Shayeann Day-Wilson, but it's not enough as we see the final ticks on the clock for Florida State. No foul is going to be assessed, so they'll dribble this one out as they get a win on their home court and continue to protect home court as they move to 19-5. And the Duke Blue Devils drop their second game in conference play and drop to 18-3. So a quick thought from you just about what Florida State was able to do.
A great bounce back win for Florida State. They played solid defense. They owned the points in the